Welcome back to the 411 Podcasting Network. I am your host, Larry Csonka, and this is episode 26 of the 411 On Wrestling Podcast. You can follow our show on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and of course, the 411mania.com website. Joining me today for the show is my good friend, Jeremy Lambert. Jeremy, how are you?
I am doing well. I got Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals on as well, so maybe some hockey talk if something exciting happens.
There you go. Sounds good. I had my therapy session earlier today, my latest one, working on getting to walk with the new leg and stuff, and it's slowly but surely coming along well, and taking more steps and stuff, and just getting more practicing, getting used to it, and it's just weird because, again, like, I never thought about it before, but, you get up out of your chair and you walk to the kitchen and get a drink or whatever, you really don't put much thought into it. And now it's just like, every step is just like this, like, long thought process of, kicking the leg out right, making sure I have good placement, making sure my body's balanced, making sure I don't fall, and it's just like 8 million things I never thought of, But, yeah, it's going good, and the best part about it is my therapist is a smoke show.
I mean, it sounds like you got good motivation to walk, so that's always good.
Well, the best part is like, and even Christy, the wife, agrees, I can't get in trouble with this one, because, like, here's the best part, because, like, she'll stand in front of me, and then she'll turn around, and she'll go, okay, she's like, I need you to transition your weight like this. And she's moving from side to side, essentially shaking her ass in my face. Which I'm like, alrighty then. I mean, I appreciate the yoga pants, thank you. So then I stand up and she's talking about weight distribution. And she puts her hands like on my hips and then around kind of half onto my ass, like adjusting my body position. And I'm like, I'm doing nothing wrong. This is medicinal purposes. I'm just going along with the flow. So, no, but seriously, I mean, it does help. She's good motivation, but she's also very good at her job, very nice, and everything's been, it's going good, so I can't really complain. I just can't wait till I can, like, kind of get through the therapy and everything, and hopefully everything becomes a little more normal.
Well, again, you've got your goal of late November, so we can meet up for WrestleCon and take in whatever wrestling event they're going to put on, but mainly mingle with all the legends that'll be there, all the legends and Larry Csonka.
That's right. So we'll, should be good to go by then. Hopefully here by the end of July, I should be getting around pretty well. But yeah, it's going good. And
you got a G1 run in you?
You know what? I thought so. I mean, I'm a junior now, and I got called for the Best of Super Juniors. But Gato said, we don't need you, Zach Allen. And I was like, oh, what the fuck, dude? I'm like, Johnny Ace over there, fuck you. So I was going to go show my skills, but, they fucking went with Dookie. Yeah,
that was a mistake. You would have performed better than Dookie.
I don't know, man. It is what it is. I was discriminated against, But we are going to talk Best of the Super Juniors finals here. Tournament came to a close, and it was a hell of a show overall. And we will start off with the undercard, Jeremy, which was Umina, Teton, and Dragon Lee defeating Ren Narita, Jonathan Gresham, and Bandito just over 8 minutes. Really fun, very good sprint of an opener with everybody getting a little bit of time, and Dragon Lee picking up the win ahead of his title defense at Dominion.
No surprise that Dragon Lee got the victory here. They gave the Young Lions a little bit of time to shine, which is always nice. They had a good tease with Narita potentially pinning Dragon Lee, and right before Narita ended up getting pinned by Dragon Lee. So, I mean, Narita, he didn't win in the tournament, but he was in the tournament, and that's big in and of itself. He got to work with a lot of experienced guys. He had some, he was the MVP of the tournament in my book, but he had some really good matches with those guys, and he looked good here in this 3-on-3 match, and Umino got some shine as well. So a good, as you said, little sprint to kick off the show, and nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, really enjoyable. And yeah, and again, Narita just, that was the big point of everybody. Like, well, he's not going to win. Why is he in the Best of Super Juniors? Like that's not the fucking point. It's like Jesus
literally
Christ.
only one person is going to win Best of Super Juniors. So why are any of these guys in it?
Yeah, and it didn't even matter that he didn't win a match. This is essentially like every once in a while when they do the like a lot of times before guys would go on excursion, they would do like a trial series where it's like matches against named competitors, and they're gonna get beat like a fucking drum. But it's to see how ready they are and how much they've improved and how good they are. And that's kind of what Narita got here in the whole tournament. And again, yeah, he did really good. I thought he did good. And, again, he just needs to work on the hair game. Because did you see the hair on Shota Umino? My man has totally gone to the Tanahashi school of hair. Looking fantastic.
I guess that is the one thing Umino has over Narita. Otherwise, Narita hasn't beat in all categories. Don't at me on that.
So yeah, he needed work on that hair game, but otherwise, yeah. So good start to the show. Didn't have to be anything more than it was. Little sprint. The Luchas did fun stuff. Young Lions did fun stuff. It just worked. Good stuff. So next up, Bullet Club, which was Robbie Eagles, El Phantasmo, and Taiji Ishimori, defeated Sho Yo and Taguchi 9.5 minutes. Thought again was a good match. And this was basically what I expected going in. The continued babyface tease for Robbie Eagles. And not only did Bullet Club win to set up a potential junior heavyweight title match, and I know people were like, why isn't that happening on Dominion? It's like, we got 3 Kizuna Road shows coming up still. We need title matches for those shows, so don't worry, it's going to happen. But not only did they continue the tease with the Eagles turning face, but Ishimori and Phantasmo look like they're going to be the team who are going to challenge, because Phantasmo stole the win and made it a point to celebrate with Ishimori. So your thoughts?
The Eagles potentially splitting from Bullet Club continues, and that's fine build there. They, with El Phantasmo in the mix, and they already had Ishimori, they don't need 3 Super Juniors in their lineup, so Eagles can kind of go off and, I don't know, maybe be Team New Japan. He's got the connection with Ospreay, I guess, and could go to Chaos. But either way, the Bullet Club doesn't actually need him. And I like the Phantasmo Ishimori team, because Phantasmo is a great dick, and Ishimori can be a great dick as well. And I mean, I liked after they beat Roppongi that they took the belts and slanged them like great dicks over Roppongi. I think the eventual Super Junior Tag Team title match will be fantastic, because all 4 of those guys are really good. Ishimori's got to get healed up. He didn't do anything in this match. I truthfully do not recall him getting in the ring. Phantasmo took a lot of the match, which is fine. He was promoted big coming into the tournament, had a good tournament, and now they're setting him up for a title match. So overall, not like an overly long match or anything, but accomplished a lot of things.
Yeah, and again, that's one of the things I like about the tournaments like this and the G1 is, depending, it's various degrees of things, but I always like the little understories, and like this Robbie Eagles story has been really good, especially with like the Phantasmo side of it too, because he's like, not only is he the new guy in the stable, but like you said, he's just a dick, and it's like you want to hate him, and he's making it very easy to do so. So yeah, it's working out really well. Next up, we had Big Tom Ishii, Yano, Yoshihashi, Jushin Thunder Liger, and Tiger Mask defeating the team of Dookie Taichi, Kanemaru, Zack Sabre Jr., and Minoru Suzuki. Just under 11 minutes. And your thoughts?
A lot of just kind of single pairings with Ishii and Taichi and Suzuki and Liger. They're obviously building to singles matches there. And then they paired off Zack Sabre and Yoshihashi, which is certainly a direction. I'm not the biggest Yoshihashi fan. I love Zack Sabre. That's definitely a match that's possible for the show in London. And I feel like that's almost a waste of Zack Sabre, to be honest, if that's the direction they go. But they certainly teased that match in this multi-man match. So we'll see what happens there. overall, again, fine. Probably the worst of the matches so far. Just it was to build the upcoming singles match more than anything. And these New Japan multi-man matches, that's mainly what their goal is. And again, it accomplished it, but nothing spectacular.
Yeah, I thought it was a good little match. Nothing spectacular, like I said, but it accomplished the goals, which is building to Taichi and Ishii, which is on Dominion. Liger and Suzuki is something they're still building to with no announced date. And yeah, Zack Sabre and Yoshihashi is certainly a choice. I agree. I think it's kind of a waste of Zack Sabre, but maybe this will be Yoshihashi's one great match a year.
Yeah, sure. I mean, still, like you've got this big return. Like Osprey is obviously gonna have a big presence on that show, and Saber is their second biggest star in that market, and he should have a big presence as well. And I mean, he's the Rev Pro champion, so he should have a bigger match than fucking Yoshihashi.
All I know is it reminds me of that time that ROH main evented with IWGP US champion Kenny Omega versus Yoshihashi, and nobody gave a fucking shit about that match, because for as good as Kenny was and as all the cool shit he did in that match, he fucking lit him up with like 900 V triggers, and like just nobody cared. Because it's Yoshihashi, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's Yoshihashi. He's getting used more than Nakamura on television, at least.
Yeah, but he still looks like the bastard clone of Okada. Like a bad experiment went wrong there, man. So, next up, LIJ, Naito, Evil, Bushi, and Sonata defeated Hanare, Togi Makabe, Kota Ibushi, and Honma. 10.5 minutes. I thought it was a good match again. LIJ pretty much always delivers into multi-man tags. And this was our continued build to Naito versus Ibushi. And also a win to heat up Evil and Sonata for a tag title match, which we're getting at Dominion.
Can't wait to talk about this tag title match when we preview Dominion. LIJ wins. Nothing too surprising there. They typically win these tag matches against sort of thrown together teams. Naito and Ibushi were the standouts, as you would expect in this match, and it was another just fine multi-man match that accomplished what it needed to without being overly spectacular.
And next up, Okada and Rocky Romero defeated Marty Scurll and Brody King just under 11 minutes. Thought it was very good. Crowd was hotter for this one. They were really into things well. I really liked it. The only thing is I was slightly surprised and disappointed that they had Okada pin Brody King already. I would have had Marty take the loss here.
Yeah, I agree with that, because like when Okada and Brody King were in the ring together, I was like, oh, this is a cool pairing right here, and they worked well together. Brody King, he looks very impressive with when he was in the ring with Rocky Romero, he towered over Rocky, and even with Okada, like he just looks so much bigger than these guys, but he can still move, not quite like a Super Junior, but he moves well for a man his size. And I wanted to see Okada against Brody King after this, but they kind of, they had Okada beat him, and I'm not saying you can't go back and still do that match or pair them up at some point, but I don't know how long Brody King is for New Japan. He's pretty much an ROH guy, but it certainly made me want that match. And yeah, I would have had Okada beat Marty. I guess you couldn't have Okada really lose. You could have theoretically had Brody King pin Rocky, but then with the whole aftermath with Jericho and everything, like you kind of needed Okada to sort of stand strong. So I understand that, but yeah, I would have had the victory over Marty. Like we've seen that, and it went too long, and then the Young Bucks match got cut. So I agree with you. It would have been better if he pinned Marty.
And not only did he pin Brody King too, it was a decisive pin. It was like top rope elbow, Rainmaker pose, Rainmaker, that's it. Like it wasn't even like a drawn out closing where like Brody King got some teases in there or anything. Okada was like, "Fuck you, Tattoo Boy, we're done."
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I was good and entertaining. I enjoyed it. Brody King had a good tour. He looked like he was having a good time, and he worked really hard. So hopefully, we'll get to see some more Brody King in the future in New Japan.
I'd be all for it because, again, he looks visually impressive next to these guys, and he can go.
Very good.
And I'm typically not a Brody King fan, so this match did a lot for him in my eyes.
There you go. So post-match, we got a Chris Jericho video asking Okada to come out and play. Said that at Dominion it's going to be the Rainmaker versus the Painmaker, and that he will win the title. Okada's promo is great because he basically said that this title isn't a toy to be played with, and what the hell is a Painmaker anyway?
Yeah, and he's like, "What the fuck is a Painmaker? Like, we don't need that shit. We got the Rainmaker." He's like, "Yeah, that's right. You tell him, Okada."
He's like, "Somebody's drunk uncle got into the back and cut a video, man. What the hell?" So. Next up, Jay White defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi in Tanahashi's return from injury. And not a big surprise, because I thought this was one of those ones you could easily go either way on, because either Tanahashi wins and it's a great comeback, or Jay White wins because he was a dick and one step ahead of him and took advantage of the injury, which is what happened. So I think it works, because I think again, you're building up more Tanahashi for that G1 stuff, and they're going to tease the run probably heavily again this year. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was probably their best match. They haven't had bad matches by any means, but definitely their best match together, I think. I thought Jay White's aggression was really, really good here, and something he's been missing. And Tanahashi is so great because technically he's falling apart. He looks like he's falling apart. But then he goes in there and just delivers, and his selling is so fucking great. I mean, you believe the man's arm is like about to fall off. And maybe technically it is. But still, he's just so damn good at what he does. But yeah, the finish played well into the work that was done all match by Jay White, who was attacking the arm of Tanahashi that had surgery. And Tanahashi was looking for the cloverleaf at the end, but Jay White attacked the arm and cradled him. There was a low blow before that. So Jay White, certified asshole still, and picks up a big win.
You know Jay White is a bad guy because he's got a heel beard now.
He does.
My man is growing some fuzz, at least trying to. I really like this match. Tanahashi is always Tanahashi. Their matches keep getting better, and I always like rematches because you can play off of the history of previous matches. Like, you go back and you watch the first Jay White Tanahashi match, and that was obviously Jay White's like first big match, returning as Switchblade, and the things were very off between those two, and a lot of people walked away disappointed because, you know, it was Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom, and it wasn't that great of a match, and Tanahashi's not going to get the blame. So it's like, all right, well, this Jay White guy, I don't know if he's going to work out. Fast forward 2 years later, and maybe a year and a half later, not even 2 years. So yeah, fast forward a year and a half later, and Jay White is fucking killing it. And a lot of that, he's worked with a lot of really good guys in the past year and a half, but it just goes to show just how much this guy's improved. And Tanahashi can still go, because above anything else, Tanahashi is going to draw sympathy in Japan. And when people see this man's arm getting brutalized, and Jay White is such a great asshole, just attacking the arm, ripping off the sleeve, and just doing whatever he can to try to make this man only have one arm. Tanahashi is always going to garner that sympathy to get the crowd into it, and like it worked once again. And these two play just so well off of each other. I think I've seen a lot of people say that it was their best match in the series. My memory isn't that good, so I don't know if it's quite their best match in the series, but it was certainly another outstanding match. And Jay White, you know, he didn't beat him with the Blade Runner. He just he outsmarted him. Tanahashi went for the cloverleaf. Jay White grabbed the arm, and then he rolled him up. And Jay White's countering, we've talked about it before, but this man's counters are exceptional. And usually it's with the Blade Runner where he hits it and just kind of out of nowhere almost, or counters something with it. This one was just, I'm going to grab the arm and roll you up off of it. And even before that, like this guy's really good at countering. And yeah, credit to both men. Two exceptional professional wrestlers.
Exactly. And that's the best thing is that I feel that their matches have gotten better, because that's, Tanahashi's Tanahashi. And we're still, they're still trying to build Jay White into something. Not necessarily, cause I hate using the phrase, but not Kenny Omega's replacement, but Kenny Omega leaves. That's a big hole in that. You had that North American or the Gaijin star, and with Kenny Omega gone, and then Cody and the Bucks are gone, and Paige is gone. All this like outside talent you had built up. Jay White was part of the system, but he's not Japanese, obviously. So now you're kind of trying to build him, but I think the guy that won the main event's going to have something to say about taking the Kenny Omega spot. Because that's
for sure.
We will get to that. But next up was the IWGP United States Championship match. The Death Rider, Jon Moxley, made his debut, defeating Juice Robinson. 25 minutes, 15 seconds. Jeremy, I thought this was an excellent piece of business. Your thoughts first.
It was, first off, it was super fucking weird to see Moxley in traditional trunks. And I know he'd use those when he was an independent wrestler and even in FCW and stuff, but he's been in jeans for so long that it was weird to see it. I don't know if that continues in AEW, because he kind of came out, he did the Scott Hall look when he came out in AEW. So we will see there, but it worked here. And then it was even weirder to see Juice Robinson without the dreads. And I like the story that they told of, I'm not CJ Parker anymore. I'm going to cut these things off and you're going to get a different me. And, it's very simple storytelling, but you can make it work when you have the story behind it. And credit to, I'm sure it was a Juice Robinson call, so credit to him for willingly cutting his dreads to advance the story of this match. As far as the actual match goes, it was exceptional. Once again, it topped Tanahashi and White. The intensity was there in a big way. Moxley is just, you can tell he's having fun again, and that goes a long way. He's not so much handcuffed by what he can and can't do in WWE, like biting Juice's eyebrow to get Juice, and the table spot. Juice did a senton off of the balcony there, fucking overshot and missed. Oh, and forgot to mention this earlier. Doki, were they not catching him, or did he just fucking miss on that dive?
I think it was he slightly overshot, but nobody made an effort to catch him either.
Yeah, I was like, either way, it speaks volumes, because this guy just completely missed a crowd of like 10 people, or 10 people just decided, fuck this guy, and we're not going to catch him. But yeah, Juice and Moxley, like it built. Juice kicked out of the regular Dirty Deeds, and then Moxley hit him with the Death Rider, which is kind of the jumping Dirty Deeds. And,
Dirty Deeds 91, man.
Yeah, and Moxley got the victory, which is the right call, and we'll talk about kind of the AEW New Japan thing here in a second. But yeah, it was. I had some reservations about this match, and I do believe that people are going to overrate the match. Like, I've seen people say it's better than Ospreay and Shingo, and I don't agree with that. It was obviously a very good match. Yeah. But I do think people are going to overrate it a bit based on circumstances, because, I mean, it's Jon Moxley unleashed, and so people are, especially the anti-WWE crowd, are going to be like, oh, well, look at this guy. Like, he's having just a classic right off the bat. And it was a very, very great match. But I don't want to. I don't feel like it was like a 5-star classic or anything. And again, we're debating quarter stars here. It was a fantastic match. I won't go as saying like it was just the greatest match of all time, but it was just a great match. That certainly, like, I kind of had low expectations going into it, and not low, but lower than I think a lot of people had, and it certainly over delivered on my expectations. And it's cool to see Jon Moxley in this environment. It made me more excited for more Jon Moxley matches, and for Juice, like, he's had some good matches. Like the Jay White matches were good, but like this felt like a star making performance for him, even in a loss.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting just how everything shakes out. But I thought this was really excellent. I was amazed to see that Mox owned fucking wrestling gear. That was nice to see. It just the fact that, like you said, it was so different because it wasn't tactical gear, it wasn't fucking jeans, it wasn't a t-shirt. I mean, my man had boots, knee pads, tights, was ready to go. And then he just came on, and this motherfucker looked in shape, he looked motivated, and he delivered. And, like, I wasn't expecting anything bad, but I was honestly kind of thinking that, I was thinking Tanahashi and White will probably be pretty long, the main event will be long. I was thinking that they would come in and kind of have, like, Moxley go shock and awe and, like, win in under, like, 5 minutes. Just to play off the fact that he, like, mind-fucked Juice for weeks with those videos and then came in and was too much for him. And then they totally went the other end of the spectrum and just put on this 25-minute intense brawl. Moxley's fucking fire was awesome. It just kind of that, like, Terry Funk, Bruiser Brody Japan style brawling, and then you have Juice just being an awesome babyface, busted open, refusing to quit, constantly fighting back. And after, like, all the, like, the dead end bullshit, facing, like, the Bullet Club for the title, the fact that he got in here with someone that was motivated and wanted to prove a point.
Didn't have to face Chase Owens.
Yeah, exactly. And I like Chase Owens, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's like, no Bad Luck Fale, no Chase Owens bullshit. But you got Juice here who's also looking to prove himself and that, he isn't that fucking WWE developmental guy. And, people still joke about that. And I'd be pissed if I was him too, because he's come so far since then. But then you got these guys that are just in here with this awesome plunder brawl. Different than anything else on the show. Really stood out. Jon Moxley looking totally reinvigorated, which is great to see. He's going to commit murder at Dominion and then possibly be announced for the G1, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I thought this was just excellent.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add to that. Like, I feel like we've kind of covered everything, and this is who Moxley was, and can be, and where I'm not saying it's WWE's fault, because they present a different product than New Japan and what AEW will most likely present, in that, like, Moxley thrives in these, like, brawling kind of I'm willing to kill or be killed kind of matches. And that's, that's what he was known for on the independent scene. He wasn't like a deathmatch guy per se, but he was about as deathmatch as like a Joey Janela-esque. Like, people, I don't think a lot of people realize that Joey Janela is kind of a deathmatch guy, and Moxley was like that before Janela. And that's who he is, and that's what he's good at. And yeah, he can tone it down and have good matches that don't go over the top with light tubes and all this other shit that I'm not a huge fan of. And that's what happened here. Like, they used a table, a chair, and that was it. But they still made it work, and there was the right intensity and the right heat for it, and it all just came together perfectly. And I'm looking forward to now Moxley unleashed on the independent scene. Fuck, he's gonna wrestle Janela in the next month or so. That should be something.
Yeah, definitely made me excited for his post WWE run. That, he had a good coming out at Double or Nothing, but seeing him in the ring and what he's, looks like he's going to be bringing to the table, man. I mean, easily his best wrestling match since the AJ stuff. You know,
Yeah,
when he was
like, not
WWE
even,
champion, and just not even close. I mean,
yeah, Moxley, and that was the kind of this is why I don't think it was really a fit with him in WWE, because his style wasn't really up their alley. He's not like a technical wrestler who can have those matches like an AJ Styles or a Seth Rollins or something like that. Like, he kind of needs a little bit of smoke and mirrors at times, but his promo work was so good that you could mask his sort of lack of technical ability. The problem in WWE is they kind of took away his promo work and made him good shit pal Goofy Dean, and then you take that with the lacking of sort of the hardcore style, and it doesn't work as all. Like, Moxley / Ambrose could have been Mick Foley-esque almost with his promo work and just sort of the style if he was back in the Attitude Era. But in this era, it just never fit, and that's why on the independent scene he's going to have more free reign with that stuff. WWE creating stars for other companies.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about that too, just on the way how they let him out of the company without, completely burying him 6 feet under, and kind of just did him a favor with the way he was able to walk away and everything. And yeah, and then he goes out there and throws on this performance, and he has the big Double or Nothing debut, and yeah, really interested to see where he's going to go, but definitely a great start to his run here between, like, those videos and stuff, and then, like I said, the Double or Nothing appearance in this. It's full steam ahead for Jon Moxley, and pretty fucking exciting. So yeah, so just when you thought Tanahashi and White was pretty fucking great, these boys came along and had an even better match. And then we come to the main event, Jeremy, and anything you can do, they can do better, because the Dragon Slayer, Will Ospreay, defeated
this man came out with a fucking sword ready to kill someone.
He did. We're not joking. I even posted on Twitter. I was like, Will Ospreay brings a sword to the ring with him. He's probably going to need it to beat Shingo.
Yeah.
And he didn't use it to beat Shingo, but yeah, he fucking beat Shingo. The Dragon Slayer beat the Dragon Shingo 33 minutes 45 seconds via pin to win the 26 Best of the Super Juniors. I'll let you go first.
The result was surprising, because Shingo had been built up all tournament, hadn't lost, and I don't think you could go wrong with either man. Either you have the story of Shingo hasn't been beat, and now he's going to go on to challenge Dragon Lee. They had a great match in the finals, and or not in the finals, in the tournament, and now you get the rematch, and so it's probably going to be great, and Shingo is still unbeaten. Or you get Will Ospreay, who comes off he beats Shingo, and then he moves on and he gets his title shot against Dragon Lee. Either way, there wasn't a wrong winner in this match. As far as the match goes, like, it fucking ruled. The Shingo tried to kind of slow the pace down at first, and Ospreay is always talking about, like, I'm not so much a flippy boy anymore. And then he's like, well, fuck it. If you're going to go outside, I'm going to start flipping again. They just hit each other with everything. I loved the ending sequence where Ospreay hit a Hidden Blade, and then like a super Os Cutter, and then Stormbreaker. Like, he triple comboed that motherfucker to put him away. And that, it was not only a sweet looking, like, sequence, but it goes to just, it puts over Shingo, because it's like, this man literally needed his 3 best moves to put this guy away, and he knew he needed him in succession, that he couldn't just hit one cover, hit another cover, and then hit the last one, and okay, maybe this will do it. Like, he didn't want to give him that break. It was just, I'm hitting all 3 of my best shit back to back to back, and that's going to put you out. And that's exactly what happened. Ospreay, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, I've been on the Ospreay bandwagon since we've started covering New Japan. I've said this guy is a top 5 in the world. He might even be top 3 in the world right now. He is so fucking good, and Shingo is up there as well. So just a great wrestling match, with, again, one of those matches where it makes you feel something, and it told a great story. Everything was crisp, the action was there, the heat was off the charts. Just such a good match.
I think we talked about it. I think that the big assumption was Shingo goes undefeated, wins the tournament, spends his time in the junior division for a little bit, eventually moves to heavyweight, while the Ospreay loss sends him to heavyweight. And what's seemingly happening here is that Will's going to stay a junior but face anybody he wants to, because he said that, we lost Ricochet, we lost Kushida, we lost the Bucks, we lost Paige, we lost Kenny Omega, but God damn it, I'm moving to Japan and I'm going to be the best fucking wrestler in the world. And I'm okay with that. And
yeah,
so
I'm not doubting this man.
Yeah, and it looks like Shingo's is now going to be stepping up to heavyweight, starting at Dominion. A lot of interesting things to make of that. I talked about in my preview that I don't think Shingo is going to be super long for LIJ, because I don't see him staying a follower. You have Naito, who is either going to get his run or he's going to fall apart. You have Evil and Sonata, who are going to want to step up. And then you have Shingo as this fucking beast. But this match, let me go back and talk about this match. Match of the night. Match of the tournament. And as we sit here, June 6th, match of the year right now. I fucking love this match. This was the shit that I wake up at 5:30 a.m. to cover shows for and love. And the funny thing is this could have felt like a disappointment, because there were some big fucking expectations for this one. Everybody kind of had this penciled in as a very highly possible final match, and if we got this final, it's going to be great. And, great would have been just fine. But they went out there and it was an amazing effort. And as you talked about in the finish, if this was how Shingo had to take his first loss, doing it against Ospreay, after taking everything Ospreay had in his arsenal for the most part to do it, that's okay. Shingo loses. He loses in a match of the year contender match, depending on who you talk to. For me, match of the year right now. But he delivers in this awesome match to where he dug deep. I mean, when you got Shingo pulling out fucking topes and breaking out Made in Japan and shit, I mean, yeah. I mean, he went full out. I thought the pacing was absolutely tremendous. Thought the drama was great. The crowd was, oh my god, down the stretch, the crowd was so awesome. And they basically put on a war trying to destroy each other. And as you said, you go to the finishing stretch, and they're going for broke. They're opening up everything. They trade headbutts and strikes. Shingo finally gets the big clothesline. Ospreay hits a fucking Spanish fly. Hook kick, hidden blade. Top rope Oscutter, Stormbreaker. I mean, if he didn't pin Shingo there, the man was fucking just... Well, he was Johnny Gargano kicking out of the Panama Sunrise on the floor. But anyway. No, but I mean, it's just as you said, he put in the Tekken, he strung together the big combo at the end. And it's just, yeah, man, if Shingo had to lose, and I know there's some people, Ospreay won again. Well, you know what? Fucking Will Ospreay is one of the best goddamn wrestlers in the world. And obviously, they have really big plans for him. And he moves numbers, and he makes money on ticket sales. And he always has great matches, so I don't see what the fuck the problem is here, Jeremy. Do you? It's not like they're fucking having Yoshihashi coming in and winning this bullshit.
I get why people are, they wanted to see the Shingo undefeated run, and you could get some mileage out of it. At the same time, the guy lost to Will Ospreay, who, yeah, one of the best in the world, has improved so much. It does a lot of good business for them, and is even a good promo and stuff now. His promo after the match was fucking great, and he really can be that Kenny Omega guy for them, to where he's got a good look. The crowd is already behind him, and he can just have great matches every single time against anybody you want. So if Shingo's going to lose, then why shouldn't it be Will Ospreay?
That's right. And honestly, I mean, if you're if you're for some reason taking a fucking dump on Will Ospreay still in 2019, please go back to 2014 with all the other assholes and stay there. I mean, there are people that just irrationally dump on the guy. He doesn't even have that good of matches. And my favorite one these days is, all he does is flippy still. He still hasn't learned how to wrestle. So you have watched no Will Ospreay from the end of 2018 into 2019, where he's dramatically changed his style, put on size, improved the striking, and changed his, pretty much his whole game. Okay, I got you then. So you're not watching. I understand.
It's very upsetting, and this happens in all sports where fans, but I think more so in wrestling, because you see these guys so often, and you get married to an idea, like in other professional sports. Like, you have an off season, and then you come back and you're like, oh, I can really see the improvement this guy made in the off season, because you've had the off season to sort of come down from your sporting high or whatever it might be. Whereas wrestling, there is no off season, so you're just seeing these guys constantly. And you would think that means, oh, I can see them evolve and improve over time. But in the real world, it kind of works in an opposite way, where you see this guy 5 years ago and you get married to the idea of, this is who this guy is. And then 5 years later, you still think he's that same guy, even though you've watched him progress in those 5 years. It's the same thing with, like, The Miz or somebody. Like, The Miz, if you go back 5 years ago, okay, he is who he is. You look at him now, he's a much better all-around performer, but people don't want to give him the credit for that. It's the same thing with Ospreay. If you watch the 5 years ago stuff and you see just the gifs and the flips, you're like, all right, that's who he is. But if you actually watch him nowadays, he's so much more than that. And it's a weird just habit that wrestling fans have, that they don't understand that these guys fucking get better. Like, they're not the same guys, and in some cases they get worse, but they're not the same performers that they were 3, 4, 5 years ago. Like, guys improve, guys evolve, and that's the beauty of wrestling and all of professional sports, is the evolvement of these guys. And yeah, Ospreay is, anybody bagging on Will Ospreay at this point, they're just married to the idea that this is who this guy is. Even if they're watching, they're only going to see what they want to see. They only want to see the flips. That's all they're going to see is the flips. That's who this guy is. And, like, just be open to seeing these guys evolve, because it happens.
Yeah, and the Miz stuff pisses me off too, because I think there are times where Miz does some really very good to great wrestling stuff, and then people are just like, oh, Miz sucks. He's so soft. I couldn't buy him in a real fight. Why do his kicks look like so shitty compared to Daniel Bryan's kicks? It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's like, okay, so just because he's not Daniel Bryan, or you don't believe he could take you in a fight or some shit, I mean, it's just like the weirdest fucking shit. Anyways, yeah, that annoys me too, though, because I there are times where I think Miz will do like some really good work, and then you'll head online or you'll listen to a podcast, and for no reason, this fucker's he's getting buried for no reason. And it's just like, yeah, I was like, okay, go back to working the Stunt Family, Chico, and stop bitching about the Miz, okay?
Yeah, it's, again, guys evolve, guys get better. If wrestling had an off season, maybe people would see this stuff. But I think just because they're always in your face, you just get married to an idea, and you just can't accept that, hey, this guy has made improvements. The development actually happened here. So whatever. If you don't think Will Ospreay is one of the best in the world, then it's, quite frankly, at this point, you're lost, because this guy rules.
Yeah, and I get that it's personal opinion, but to just sit there and spout the Will's the flippy boy bullshit and that he hasn't improved, that's what annoys me. So anyway, we will move on, Jeremy. We got Dominion to talk about.
Real quickly.
Okay.
So Hiromu with the tease on the Twitter, and then nothing. This guy's never wrestling again, is he?
And he's supposed to come back this summer, man. He may even be back at Dominion. The interesting thing about the Ospreay win is the fact that even without Hiromu, Ospreay instantly has 4 challengers lined up if he wins the title. Because Robbie Eagles and Phantasmo beat him during the tournament, and then Shingo and Ishimori beat Lee during the tournament. So generally the rule is when you beat the champion during the tournament, you have earned a title shot even if they aren't the champion. So if Will wins, you're going to have 4 challengers instantly set up, which he should be winning. And we'll talk about that here in a few, but yeah. But I would expect at least an announcement or something about Hiromu at Dominion here, Jeremy. And hopefully that is the case.
We'll see. I mean, Ospreay mentioned him in his post-match promo. I had, like, this is me theorizing and sort of fantasy booking here, and I am wondering out loud. I wondered if Hiromu was healthy to come back, if they give Shingo the win and then, LIJ celebrating and whatnot, and then here comes Hiromu, like, wait, what the fuck's going on here? Like, I thought I was the junior ace and everything, and now you got this new guy, and so you got a little tension there. I mean, obviously Shingo didn't win, and Hiromu could be healthy, and they just went in a completely different direction. But that was just something that popped into my head when Shingo had lost, and then Hiromu didn't come out. I fantasy booked something there. But I hope this guy is back at Dominion. But I've also been hearing for months now that, hey, he's supposed to be back at this show, and then we haven't seen him.
Yeah, so we'll see, and hopefully that's the case. So we move on to Sunday Show Dominion. We'll preview now. We're opening up with IWGP US Champion Jon Moxley versus Shota Umino and his lovely hair.
Moxley's going to force this guy to cut his hair too to prove he's not a young lion anymore. Moxley, though, Umino will get something because they like him and Moxley knows how to do business. But overall, Moxley's going to just kill this man.
Yeah, I think this is designed for him to largely destroy Umino. I mean, like you said, he'll probably get a little bit. And in theory, I'm sure if Jon Moxley felt like it and they were like, we'll give you 10 minutes. I'm sure if he wanted to, he can go out there and have a fucking banger with Umino in 10 minutes. Because Umino's really good. But I think this is largely about establishing him after that title win. Because there have been lots of rumors that he is going to work the G1. So coming in, winning the title, and then destroying a man on like the second biggest show of the year, probably a good start if they're going to throw him in the G1. But I would expect him to largely destroy Umino and his beautiful Tanahashi-like hair.
He should cut it afterwards.
Fuck you, bitch! You do not say that.
The scalp collector.
Yeah, you want him to cut his hair so he can give it to Narita. I see your plan.
Yeah, that's actually not bad. I do want that.
So next up is Shingo versus Kojima. And I'll tell you the one thing that annoyed me right away was on the, I was watching the press conferences they were announcing this. And they're like, oh, Shingo gets to face an old man and Moxley gets to face a jobber. Obviously, these are people who do not watch the fucking product. Yes, Umino does not win many matches as a young lion. But he is one of the futures of the company. He is very good. Just because you look at Kojima as an old man does not mean he has no fucking worth. Kojima's a goddamn legend still. He can still go, still has enough of a name that when Shingo beats him here, and he will, it's going to mean something. So just because you're used to seeing fucking Kane strolling and collect a bunch of money for working a Saudi show and The Undertaker and Goldberg and all these fuckers, come back and do that shit. Don't knock New Japan because they have a system of how they use veterans and it works to put younger people over. Because I don't see Undertaker doing any fucking jobs for,
Elias.
Fucking Ricochet and shit.
It's a rebound win for Shingo, and there's completely nothing wrong with that. As you said, I don't get anyone who is complaining about guys looking strong. Like what?
Oh, heaven
what
forbid!
Yeah. Like what is is wrong with that? Like squash matches are great, and this probably won't be like an outright squash. Like Shingo just had this war with Osprey. Kojima didn't work, so in theory, like Kojima is a veteran who knows what it takes to win these kind of matches and still has some cachet and everything. So Kojima will probably get a decent amount in this match, and Shingo will end up winning because he's a star right now, and Kojima was a star a decade ago. It's dumb that people have an issue with guys looking strong though, because, and I'm not saying this is just an overall WWE thing, because I don't like when everything just has to be compared to WWE, but it's just a generality in when it comes to wrestling. Guys should look strong, and Yumeno is a guy who is a young lion. He's not going to look strong. Kojima is a veteran who is past his expiration date. He shouldn't be looking strong. Moxley and Shingo are the future and the now of the business. So you put them over on this big show.
Yeah, it's pretty simple business, I just don't understand why some people don't get that. It's it's not like I'm praising New Japan for reinventing the wheel. I'm just praising them for doing something simple and smart, which is the best booking most times. Keep it simple, stupid. So we move on. Jushin Liger and Yoshihashi teaming up to face Zack Sabre Jr. and his angry Japanese dad, Minoru Suzuki. This is all about building, as we talked about on the Best Super Juniors review a couple minutes ago, all about building to the future singles matches. I have been all about this slow burn to Liger versus Suzuki. They have been so great.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just sensational. Old men beating the shit out of each other. But, again, old men that can go and they know their worth and they lose at the right times and stuff. And, again, I mean, it's not like you're going to have Suzuki just beating, Juice Robinson 10 times in a row or whatever for no reason. You have nothing for him to really do right now. Liger's finishing up his career. They have some backstory to play off of. This is a great use for both guys. It keeps them in tag matches a lot, less taxing on the body. And then when we finally get to this match, after all of these teases of them trying to kill each other in these tags, it's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to this match. It's three guys I really like in Yoshihashi, and it's just the truth.
I know, no, that's what I was going to say too, though.
And they're gonna tease the two singles matches, and that's fine. And as you said, the Liger Suzuki stuff has been really fun, and it's been good shit, pal, and it'll continue here. Probably won't be like the most spectacular match of all time, but it's going to go in there. It has a goal, and it'll accomplish that goal.
Yeah, I think Liger and Hashi will win. I think this might be where Yoshihashi picks up after doing the tease, he may pick up the pin here on Zack Sabre to set up that singles match. Again, not that I'm overly excited for it, but that would be the basic New Japan booking for the scenario.
Yeah, that makes sense. And sure, Yoshi-fucking-Hashi.
Yoshihashi, yes. The bastard clone of Okada. So anyway, we move on. Six-man tag action. Taguchi, Juice Robinson, and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Jay White, Chase Owens, and Taiji Ishimori. Bullet Club comes in with all the momentum after White and Ishimori won their matches at the Best Super Junior Finals. Juice and Tanahashi coming off of rough losses. Taguchi didn't make the finals of the Best Super Junior, so he's looking to get some momentum here. If I had to guess, I think this will be the rebound win for either Tanahashi or Juice. Picking up the pin on good old Chase Owens.
Yeah, probably. That's kind of my thoughts as well, is that it's a rebound match for Juice and Tanahashi, and Chase Owens is in there to be sacrificed to Juice because Chase Owens has lost to Juice 3 million times. So what's another loss?
That's right. So coming up next, IWGP Tag Team Champions, the Gorillas of Destiny versus Evil and Sonata. And I know you said you had a lot to say about this, so I will let you go.
Just the tag teams in New Japan. It's literally these two teams. I feel like I've seen this match a million times. It's fine because they've got good chemistry. Evil and Sonata are good. I like Guerrillas of Destiny as a team. I I just have no desire to see this anymore. They've got to do something with the tag team division. Either combine it and have the juniors up there as well, so we get some fresh matches, or add to some depth here, or do something, because if I don't see another Guerrillas of Destiny versus Evil and Sonata tag team match again, it'll be too soon. Just I'm over this match.
I completely agree. There is nothing I can say to dispute that. I've long been a critic of the booking of the tag divisions in New Japan. That is easily the weakest part of the product. I thought that they were teasing combining the divisions a while ago when the Bucks were still around, and they dropped it, and then they eventually moved them up to heavyweight. And yeah, it's just they need to do something, and they need to do it quick. And again, like I've said in the past, like it wouldn't be the worst idea for, when they're not in singles programs and stuff, for like Zack and Suzuki to be a regular tag team, because they tag together in Rev Pro, and stuff, little things like that. And I've also said that like I would not be opposed at a Tanahashi Okada like super team run eventually. Just some different things to mix it up, but yeah, they got to do something. They have to.
You have 5 million multi matches on every single tour, and even on the undercard of these big events. You've got the talent to create some more tag teams, some actual sustained tag teams, like a Zack Sabre and a Suzuki, like I don't know if Tanahashi wants to team with Juice Robinson full time, but Juice Robinson can have a partner somewhere. You've got the guys to do this, and you've either got to do it or combine the divisions so you've got more depth, because right now it's literally Evil Sonata and Guerrillas of Destiny. Those are the only two sustainable long-term tag teams on the roster that anybody can name right now.
Yeah, pretty much. So
hey, the matches should be good. I don't know who's going to win. To me, it doesn't even matter who wins, because I don't put any stock into these titles. These titles don't have a real value to me.
Maybe Yano will come out and steal them again afterwards.
That'd be great. Like Yano and Taguchi, or yeah, fuck it, Yano and Taguchi. Well, let them be a damn team.
Yeah, they definitely need to do something to fix the damn tag division. Like you said, unfortunately, the winner kind of doesn't really matter here. I think Evil and Sonata might win, but I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it seems like it's just, all right, we haven't changed the titles around in a little bit, so it's your turn again to hold the titles.
Yeah. Up next, IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion Dragon Lee facing Best of Super Junior 26 winner, the Dragon Slayer Will Ospreay. Jeremy.
Yeah, Dragon Lee's fucked. The match will be great because it's Will Ospreay and Dragon Lee, unless Will Ospreay is just completely dead coming into it, but I don't suspect that is the case. But like Ospreay's getting the big push, and he should, and you don't sacrifice that big push by having him lose to Dragon Lee here. You give him the title, you let him face Super Juniors, you let him face heavyweights, you let him face whoever the fuck he wants, because he's Will Ospreay, and you go from there. But he's getting the big push, and he should win this match. More
importantly, you don't waste the win over Shingo here. Okay,
exactly.
You have to have Ospreay win. And like I said before, his win sets up 4 guaranteed title matches, and that's not even discussing the fact of Hiromu possibly coming back. And some have been like, well, Dragon Lee needs to stay champion so he can face Hiromu. No, you don't need the belt there at all. They have a built-in history. Even before the injury angle, they had a built-in history. You don't need the title for it. So that can happen at any time. It's not a big deal. Will Ospreay should win. And then you got, like I said, you got matches with Shingo, Ishimori, Phantasmo, and Robbie Eagles. And I would imagine that if Will wins, which he should, probably faces Phantasmo at the big London show. And then I would think Eagles at the one Australian show. Makes sense.
You're forgetting somebody here after he beats the Last Dragon, Shingo, and Dragon Lee. He's got one more man to beat after that.
Well, technically two. Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But that's Wrestle Kingdom.
And Lyoto Machida.
Oh, okay. We can work Machida in. That can maybe be like a King of Pro Wrestling, a little special attraction.
That's right.
I'll buy into that. He has ties with the LA Dojo.
Yeah, he's worked with Nakamura and Daniel Bryan before. I think he lived with Nakamura.
He did.
Yeah, so get Lyoto Machida out here.
Fuck yeah. Will Ospreay slaying all the dragons with his giant sword.
All for this. Ospreay, that's a good point. Like, you don't waste that Shingo win by having Ospreay lose to Dragon Lee in his next match. You keep that momentum going. Exactly.
So moving on, keeping with the title matches, never openweight champion Taichi versus Big Tom Ishii. You know what? Taichi for me very inconsistent, but he doesn't totally suck.
He sucks.
No, he doesn't, because he's actually had great matches. Trust me.
I'm sure this match will be good. On the whole, Taichi sucks.
Wow. Yeah, listen, I'm rough on the guy, but that's... I understand that he's not fucking Shane Taylor, Jeremy.
I was waiting for you to make a Shane Taylor joke there.
Had to wait for it. Got to build the drama for that. No, but Taichi can and has stepped up, and his last match with Ishii was great. Hopefully we get more of that Taichi here, because when he is in that, as Chris Charlton likes to call it, dangerous K mode, dangerous T, whenever he's fucking like locked in and wanting to deliver and really dials down the heel bullshit, I can go with it. I can roll with it, and it's usually really good. And Ishii is just like my spirit animal. I wish I was as tough as this man. I want to be this man someday when I grow up, even though I'm probably close to the same age. But yeah, fuck if I know who's gonna win. With my luck, they keep the title on Taichi, but I want Big Tom to win.
I said it a while ago when they first teased the Ishii and Taichi match. You have Ishii win, because the never openweight title is another belt that I just don't put a lot of stock into. It doesn't seem to stay around the waist of one wrestler for too long, and that's that. It just goes away. There's no great there's no build to it. There's no all right, this guy finally won, this is a big deal. They don't build up the belt at all. It's just hot potatoes around, and so it's tough to really care about this belt. I think Ishii is a guy, you put it on him and you finally make people care about this belt, because it is an open weight title, and you can have him face juniors, you can have him face heavyweights, you can have him face anyone. And Ishii is a guy who can go out there and have great matches with anyone. This should have been essentially the Jeff Cobb role, but Jeff Cobb wasn't New Japan full time, so maybe they didn't want to commit to him in this role. Ishii is New Japan full time, so put the title on him, have him wrestle, challenge, whatever the case might be, literally anyone at any weight, and actually make this title mean something. I don't know if they'll do it, but they got to do something to where this title means a little bit more, because right now it just bounces around, and I don't care about it. So at least Taichi could give it a little something, assuming they keep it on him and they do something with it, instead of fucking Taichi wins or Ishii wins and then and loses it before the G1 or something, and then it's the same title it's always been.
Yeah. By the way, my man Big Tom is a year older than I am. He's 43, so
That's fine. You can still be him when you grow up.
That's right, I can. So it's okay. But yeah, Big Tom should just destroy Taichi here, and it would be great. And then we move on to IWGP IC champion Kota Ibushi defending against Naito. These two have had 2 matches already this year. They have both been excellent. One during the New Japan Cup, one during the G1 Supercard. Ibushi won both matches. I think they were both Match of the Year contenders. And it really completed his rise to IC champion and main event guy, pleasing his gods who are Nakamura and Tanahashi. The thing is here is, do you keep that going? Because, I mean, I think the match is going to be great. They're going to try to kill each other. They do every time out. And, I mean, I'm okay with that. I can deal with it because I love it. It's not great for them, obviously, but, you know, they're adults. What are you going to do? No, seriously.
If they want to break their necks for our entertainment, we're not going to stop them.
Well, it's just like, I kind of hate when everybody gets on the high horse like, oh, they should really tone it down. Grab a headlock, kid. It's like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, it would be great if they were a little safer, but you know what? Again, they're fucking adults, and they're going to do what they're going to do, and Kota Ibushi makes it a sport to land on his head and neck, so. But the question here is, like, do you have Ibushi win again and really lock in this IC title run and avoid, like, the flip-flop booking? Because, like, if you do that, you've done a great job of really establishing him. Because at the same point, like, Naito, you know, I know a lot of people aren't going to like to hear it, feels like he's kind of on the downturn to me. Not in terms of popularity, but I do worry about him breaking down physically. He has bad knee issues. He reportedly has a neck issue. And he's been taking it really easy for a while. So, I mean, you know, maybe it's best to have Ibushi win. And then Naito, I mean, because you can always in the G1, because a lot of people think that they're going to do Naito and Okada at one of the Wrestle Kingdoms here coming up. You could always do Naito loses this match, goes through the G1, and then in like maybe the block final, or not the block final, but like the final night before the finals or the final, maybe that's when he overcomes Ibushi on way to getting his world title shot. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, you can make an argument for either guy winning, but I think you have Ibushi win to firmly keep him established, and then you have Naito get the return win during the G1.
That's along the lines of what I'm thinking as well, because Naito, I don't think he's cooled down. Definitely not in terms of popularity. In terms of like matches, I don't know. He looks healthy enough to me. This match will probably be great, and we'll be like, all right, well, if he's banged up, fuck. He doesn't seem to care because he's still going out there and having classics. So whatever. At the same time, Naito clearly has never cared about this title, and I think that's kind of the story you tell moving forward is, all right, Ibushi wins this match. And they like doing this with Naito. We saw it last year where Naito kind of lost these bigger matches and then finally came back and got the big win at Wrestle Kingdom against Jericho. And so you've had it like he's lost to Ibushi once, he loses to Ibushi here. The talk for years, and we know at least as early as this past year, has been Naito Okada at the Dome at Wrestle Kingdom. And we know Gato likes to book a year out and typically doesn't kind of go away from those plans unless he's forced to. So if that still is in the cards, and they really got so many good directions, like Ospreay is so hot right now. Ibushi is already super hot and is probably only going to get hotter. Okada's Okada. Tanahashi's Tanahashi. Jay White is even in the mix. Like we'll talk about the AEW relationship if you bring any of those guys in or back or whatnot. So they've got plenty of options where it's like, yeah, this guy can headline the Dome. If you are stuck on the Naito Okada match, Naito loses here, goes to the G1, wins the G1, beats Ibushi. Usually, if you beat the champion, that sets up a title shot. And Naito was just like, I beat you. I never gave a fuck about that title. I don't care about that title. I have the briefcase now. And so I'm not worried about getting this title shot. I'm on to bigger and better things. And that's that. You don't have to come back with Ibushi and Naito for the third or fourth time, down the later on this year. That feels like in my kind of fantasy booking world, the direction they're going to go. But this really is just a toss-up, and you can't go wrong with either guy. Ibushi is having a good run with the title, can have a great run with the title. He wants to reestablish the title to where it was during the Nakamura days, where it's like this belt can headline over the IWGP heavyweight title. And I think you've got to keep that going here. You can't keep flipping it back and forth, especially going back to Naito, who, it's just, he never cared about the belt. That never defined him. It was whatever to him. And then he either loses it before the G1 or, maybe he doesn't win the G1 and then he's still the Intercontinental Champion. But if Naito wins the G1, he doesn't need the Intercontinental title.
Fair enough. So we move on to the main event of the evening. IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada defending against your favorite drunk uncle, Chris Jericho. Now, Jericho announced his return via video package, revealing that he would be challenging for the title at this show. And right away, and I think rightfully so, there was criticism over the booking because Jericho was just walking back in and getting an IWGP title shot coming off of a loss at Wrestle Kingdom. And that is not something New Japan typically does. And I get the frustration, I understand it, and I don't really disagree with it because it makes sense to be upset about it when you're looking at a company that is usually so logical and follows through on a lot of the booking stuff with just simplicity and logic. But I understand why they're doing the match. First of all, you don't want to run through another New Japan main roster challenger and put him in a position like Sonata is in now. Because Sonata just lost again to an Okada, like his sixth loss to him. And you've just burnt another title challenger. So you don't want to do that. Secondly, Jericho and Omega is still a pretty big dream match in 2019. And while Jericho's been performing at a high level, I think that you need to pull the trigger while you have the chance. Because Jericho, while he is in good shape for his age and he's doing his DDP yoga and he's working hard, he's been extremely lucky not to have serious injury throughout his career. But the older he gets, the more risk there is that he could get hurt. I don't wish him getting hurt by any means, but I'm just looking at reality here. Bad things could happen. So then next of all, we're looking, Dominion is basically like the second biggest show of the year. You need a marquee match to headline it. You had Okada and Omega previously, and now you have Okada and Jericho. And I think it works really well. And then the other thing I really do like about it is, Jericho's not working high-flying style, and he's not working fast-paced grappling classics and shit. He's working his old man brawl style now, which I approve of. That is not a slight, people, okay? Please don't get upset by that. It's just what it is. He's working an older brawling style, which is fitting of his condition right now and what he wants to do. Plus, it makes him different from what he used to be and pretty much everybody else. The thing is that match style is going to take Okada out of his comfort zone, which is something a lot of people like to complain about, and that Okada always works the same style of stuff, and that while it may be great, they don't like it. So hopefully this leads to a very different style of match from Okada. And I think that's what honestly really excites me about this. I guess the other thing too now is everybody's assuming that Okada's just going to walk in, they're going to work 30 minutes, and he's going to win. No questions asked, and that is very likely the scenario that's going to happen. But I think, Jeremy, that you can make a case for Chris Jericho to potentially win the championship here. First of all, it would actually be a surprise because I don't think anybody would, outside of me right now, working myself into a shoot, would expect him fucking winning the title. Second of all, it would free up the G1 without the champion being involved, and the labors of booking around the champion and who can take wins and losses at the right time. Because Jericho is sure to hell not working the G1. And that should also add more drama to some of the Okada matches in the G1 if he were to go in without the title. Finally, it would be another indication that New Japan may be looking to work with AEW, which we will discuss in a minute. And again, I may have just kind of worked myself into a big old shoot right here, but I think Chris Jericho winning is not out of the question.
All right, a lot to unpack there. I agree with you that Jericho getting the title shot doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the guy just lost. I equate it almost to MMA in that it's a super fight. And okay, this guy's coming off a loss or whatnot, or he's 2-1 in his last 3 fights, but it's a super fight. Like you can look at it, they cleaned out their division. All right, Jericho isn't cleaned out the division. I don't know if there is a division, but he just won the main event of AEW's first show. So theoretically, he cleaned out the division. He's the top guy in AEW. Okada is the top guy in New Japan. He's got the belt to prove it. So even if, all right, Jericho's coming off of a loss in New Japan, but it's still a super fight. And so that's the way you go with that. And I think that's sort of how they're looking at it. And I don't have an issue with that. And that's how that's how I view it. And so I think in that context, it makes more sense. I think Jericho has a lot to prove in this match because the Kenny Omega match was kind of undelivered or underdelivered. And I don't think Jericho looked great in that match. Like, it was a lot of Omega just being Kenny Omega and bumping his ass off and doing everything he could to make it a spectacular match. And Jericho, he looked like, I thought he lost a half step against AJ Styles a few years ago. And then he was like, oh, fuck that. Like, he had the match with Omega at Wrestle Kingdom. It's like, nope, still got it. And now, like, he again, in the rematch against Omega, he again looked like the guy who has lost that step. So we will see what he brings against Okada, who it's almost impossible to have a bad match with. The winner, to me, doesn't seem in doubt. It seems like it will be Okada. You've intrigued me with your ideas, and I would like to subscribe to your newsletter about Jericho winning, because you do make some good points on that. The biggest one, the best point, I think, of that is not the surprise factor so much, but the G1 factor of, yeah, Jericho's not working the G1. So you can go into that, and instead of booking around Okada being the champion and, doing some fluke losses or setting up future title matches or whatever, it's just these guys know what they're fighting for. They're fighting for a shot at Chris Jericho and the IWGP heavyweight title at Wrestle Kingdom. And I don't know if Jericho's headlining Wrestle Kingdom, but in theory, that's what they would be fighting for, because Jericho would have the title. And that, it's something. And it's also something because Jericho is such a good character, where he's going to be like, I came in here, I headlined 2 Wrestle Kingdom matches. He'll probably say he won both of them, even though he lost both of them. I beat Okada. I beat your Rainmaker. I'm not doing your stupid G1. All you guys are fighting for the chance to face me. That's what the G1 is now, a chance to face me. And it's, it's right up Chris Jericho's alley. And I'm not talking myself into it, I think, as much as you have, but it can make sense. And now if Chris Jericho wins, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world, because you can go somewhere with it. But I still think Okada ends up winning.
I mean, I think it's very likely that he's retaining, but I think there's an argument to be made, and I made it, and hey, if I'm right, I'll take a big old victory lap, and if not, I'm just fucking wrong. So what are you going to do?
Whatever. I mean, we've all been wrong before, and yeah, when you're right, those are the ones that count more.
Yeah, so I mean, again, that's That's Dominion. It looks like it is a potentially another great show. Best of Super Juniors final was excellent. So we'll see what happens, but got a lot of potential on this card, and as we talked about a little bit over these previewing and reviewing the last stuff here, I kind of want to talk about the potential for the AEW New Japan Pro Wrestling working relationship. And again, it's just a possibility type thing right now. And I think, first of all, what we need to talk about before we get into just the meat of it is the fact that how the lucha companies kind of affect things. Because you have New Japan right now who works with CMLL and have had a relationship with them for a while, do the Fantastica Mania shows every year. You have guys that come in and work Best Super Juniors, and it is a good relationship. Plus, CMLL works with Ring of Honor already. You kind of have that little triumvirate of a relationship there, and I mean, it seems like most everybody is happy. And then right now you have AEW who is going to work with AAA, which AAA and CMLL not on the same page, and again, so the one thing you have to look at is, if New Japan wants to think about possibly dropping out of the alignment of working with Ring of Honor, they're going to probably end up losing the CMLL tie. So right away, I think the first thing you have to look at is not so much are they willing to cut bait with Ring of Honor, are they willing to cut bait with CMLL as well? So that's like the first thing. So your thoughts, Jeremy?
That's kind of an underrated aspect of all of this, in that everyone and I've said it before too, like AEW is the better option for New Japan. They have the better talent, they have the bigger stars, they would probably do more with the relationship than just use New Japan to boost ticket sales and to boost their own name, because as it stands, ROH is a pretty cold company. But it's not just, all right, who are you choosing, AEW or Ring of Honor? It's who are you choosing, AEW and AAA or Ring of Honor and CMLL? And CMLL has been very good to New Japan. And that seems like the tougher choice of cutting ties with CMLL over cutting ties with Ring of Honor, because I mean, CMLL provides them with just more. The relationship seems better. They do the Fantastic Mania events, the Best of Super Junior stuff. A lot of the ROH guys or the New Japan guys work the CMLL events, and they always seem to do well there. They're highly promoted, and yeah, that one to me is the bigger kind of relationship choice of what you're going to do. Is I still think it's a pretty easy choice, because I don't think you're getting too much out of CMLL that even AAA can't replace with, because you can get Phoenix and Pentagon and anybody else. I'm not super up to date on AAA. I apologize. LA Park, I think, is there. Like you can get those guys as well, but I think New Japan sees more value in the CMLL relationship and trying to keep them happy and not wanting to upset them than they do the ROH relationship, where they're like, fuck it. Like, we know what we're getting out of AEW. Like, this is just clearly a better relationship. You guys haven't done quite enough for us. I still think that the AEW AAA option is better, and maybe New Japan can swing something to where they're like, hey, we can work with CMLL and AEW. Like, New Japan might have that cachet at this point. So I wouldn't put it past them to just, they're allowed to pick whoever they want, and we'll see. It would certainly be a coup in New Japan's cap if they were able to just, yeah, we'll take AEW and CMLL. That's who we choose to work with. That's what we're gonna go with, and the rest of y'all figure it out.
The next point is if you're New Japan Pro Wrestling and you already have this, you have a strong agreement with ROH and CMLL, And you already have the ability to use Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, and Kenny Omega without an official agreement. Do you need to make an official agreement when you can kind of have the best of both worlds by having your already long-standing agreement and then the access to major stars on occasion to boost big shows?
I think you need the agreement once television starts, because AEW guys aren't going to be as available once television starts. And that's when I think AEW will be a little bit more stringent on, yeah, we're not sending Chris Jericho over there. We're not sending Jon Moxley over there because we're running weekly TV. We're building towards 4 or 5 big events a year. We've got an event regardless every month. Like we can't send this guy to Japan and lose him for a tour or even a big show at this point. So I think that's when you need the agreement. Right now, it's really working out fine for New Japan because they've got their deals in place and they're still getting the top AEW guys. But that's because AEW, they're allowing just about anybody to work wherever they want. I'm sure even the Young Bucks, if they really said, hey, we want to go work Dominion and we want to work Roppongi again, it's like AEW, I mean, they're fucking co-executive vice presidents. They just be like, we're going to do it because we don't have anything else wrestling wise going on. But once the full-time schedule starts, that's going to be cracked down on, that not only for the top guys, even the independent guys. Like, you're not going to see as much of Janela or MJF or these guys on, working every independent show under the sun.
I think that's the best point, is that when the TV comes into play is probably going to be when things potentially change. Because, yeah, as you said, AEW is going to be more careful about, we can't let this guy be gone during this time because we're building towards so-and-so show, triple or nothing, or all in and out 15 or whatever the fuck they're going to do. But yeah, I mean, they're going to be more geared to building their brand, their product, their TV. And yeah, it's like if you set something up long enough in advance, that's fine. But, day-to-day operation and stuff, yeah, you're probably gonna want something official. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
And you don't know how kind of that stuff works because they don't want to send like a Kenny Omega over there because obviously Omega is going to be one of their big stars. You don't want to send Kenny Omega over there and then like do the Ibushi match or have him team with Ibushi. You're giving, especially if you don't have a working relationship with these guys, like you're giving New Japan and theoretically even a little boost to ROH if ROH is smart enough. I mean, if I know New Japan is booking a Golden Lovers reunion, I'm fucking sending my world champion over there and getting him on that show and getting him a victory and boosting the ROH profile as well. And I don't know if I feel like ROH can do this. I feel like this is where they have just missed opportunities. Is why isn't someone in Japan this weekend for this show with Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley on it? Why isn't Jeff Cobb there? Why isn't the fucking Jay Lethal there? You should have somebody representing your company, so Kevin Kelly has to mention Ring of Honor, and people might be more interested in checking it out. I think this is where the New Japan ROH relationship is just very one-sided to me, and that where ROH just, they only take advantage of it when it suits them, and even then they don't take advantage of it enough. But back to my original point, you're not sending Kenny Omega over there to boost New Japan's profile if you don't have a working relationship with them, and also risking Kenny Omega getting hurt. Like, Omega's not fucking going over there and working a 5. He's going out there to bust his ass and put everything on the line. And Kenny Omega works a rough, high risk, high octane style. He could easily bust an ankle. And then you don't have Kenny Omega for however long, and all because you sent him to a company that you don't have an actual agreement with. So once television starts, you've either got to have an agreement in place or you can't be sending these guys to New Japan.
I also think another thing to consider is, and a lot of people don't see it, but it's there. I really do think that since the G1 Supercard, that relationship between ROH and New Japan is strained, because you look at the War of the Worlds tour, and no offense to individuals.
Yeah, they sent Evil and Sonata.
Evil, Sonata, Nagata, Kojima, and the Dojo Lions from LA.
Fucking NWA got Nagata and Kojima, so
yeah,
that barely counts as anything.
So I mean, I think you could look at something there. They sure the fuck didn't send Naito, and they didn't send Ibushi. You know, there was no Tanahashi. Obviously, he was hurt, but there was no Okada. They didn't send anybody resembling a big name. And then you look at, Brody King got some run here in the Best Super Junior Tour, which was nice to see. But then, you look at Dominion. What is the ROH involvement? You're telling me? Maybe it's this. Was ROH stupid enough that they couldn't even fucking approach New Japan and be like, hey, we got a match that, or, hey, you know what? The Briscoes are free. Why don't we do, we're doing them and the Gorillas in June or July for the tag titles. Why don't the Briscoes go over and challenge them for the IWGP titles at Dominion? Play into that feud. Give us a fresh tag match, for fuck's sake, like Jeremy said earlier. But yeah, you're telling me you can't get anybody on that fucking card.
We know Skrull and Brody King are over there. I realize they just lost to Okada and Rocky Romero, and giving them a tag team title shot after that loss doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But you can't get them on the card. We know Bandito's over there. We know Gresham is over there. Like, there is New Japan representation, or Ring of Honor representation over in Japan, just from the Best of Super Juniors. You can't get any of these guys on the Dominion card, even as in like some multi-man tag team match, just to where Kevin Kelly just has to say Ring of Honor. Like, he's with nobody representing. They'll probably name drop Ring of Honor because he's a good commentator, and have been guys who have worked Ring of Honor and whatnot. But you've got to have them mention that relationship a little bit more and try to just bring new eyeballs to it, because right now it's really they're not utilizing it that well. Like, AEW is utilizing a non-existent relationship with New Japan more than Ring of Honor, because AEW has one of their top guys as a fucking champion in New Japan, and the other one of their top guys in the main event challenging the champion of New Japan. So they're doing pretty well for this non-relationship here.
Yeah, it's kind of staggering how ROH couldn't get anybody on here. Nothing.
You can't send Matt Taven over there to beat somebody. The Kingdom can't go over there and beat Makabe and Hanma and Yano or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah, fuck. I mean, I'm not like a big fan of the Kingdom overall, but they're decent. Fucking send them over there. Have them beat Taguchi, Makabe, and whoever the fuck else is the 6-man tag team champions right now. Just do something. Fuck anything.
You've got to get your name out there, and you've got to get your stars. And this is the problem with Ring of Honor, is they don't have anybody that just feels like a star. I mean, you're not sending. You can't. I love Jay Lethal. I do think you can do Jay Lethal and Okada, not to headline Dominion, but you can do that match. There's no one else where you're like, oh, hey, this feels like a big match. Like, this is a match that can headline this show against like an Okada. Whereas with AEW, you send over Moxley, you send over Omega, you send over even the Bucks, Cody, and obviously Chris Jericho. That's 5-6 guys right there. That all those guys can be main event or co-main event guys on literally any New Japan show out there, including Wrestle Kingdom.
The problem with Jay Lethal, and I love Jay Lethal, and I think he's great. The problem is that when he's worked in Japan, his stuff with New Japan has been very lackluster. Part of it is because the crowd doesn't react because they don't know him. And just, I don't know if it's lost in translation is the best phrase to use for it, but he doesn't feel like he clicks in New Japan. And for somebody that I think is very good, I find it surprising.
This is where it's just, he's not an actual star. He's a star in Ring of Honor because he's been built well there, and he's, one of their, if not their most decorated champion of all time, but that doesn't translate anywhere else in the world. And it sucks because Jay Lethal is very good. Like, he's supremely talented. And I think if you give Jay Lethal like a Best of Super Juniors run, like by the end of it, and you actually have him win matches and stuff, he's not just kind of like a mid-card guy. Like by the end of it, he probably would get over huge. I think a Best of Super Juniors run for Jay Lethal where he's in a, let's say, a Ishimori kind of role probably does more for Jay Lethal than anything ROH has done for him as their world champion over the past couple of years. But that's the hang up, is Jay Lethal to the Japan audience is not any kind of a star. Moxley's never worked in Japan, at least not anytime recently, but this guy comes in and is immediately a star. And yeah, the WWE reach has something to do with that. And the same thing with Chris Jericho. Obviously Omega, Cody, the Bucks, like they have actual ties with New Japan previously. But these ROH guys, none of them are looked at as like any kind of stars. Like you can't send Matt Taven to New Japan and like headline anything with him. You need to headline a Road 2 show or something, but you're not headlining Dominion or King of Pro Wrestling or anything like that with Matt Taven.
Yeah, the problem with like the Lethal thing is you can't do Best of Super Juniors with him because he's an established heavyweight, and they've always booked him as a heavyweight there. And then the other thing is, it's like ROH would probably look at that as like a slap in the face. A G1 run would be something, but again, I just think that his overall clash over in the past of how he's worked with guys, I don't know if it would be for the best, but I think it would be the best chance to get him over and make him a star. But then, of course, if you were to make me choose like Jay Lethal and Jeff Cobb, I'm going to go Jeff Cobb all day working G1. So, I mean...
Yeah. I mean, whether it's Jeff Cobb, whether it's Jay Lethal, if Jeff Cobb gets a G1 run, great. They will probably do more for him than Ring of Honor has. But this just goes, once again, to speak, like Jon Moxley might do a G1 run. And if that happens and they get, a Moxley G1 run over anybody in ROH, and if Jeff Cobb gets one, fine, but Moxley's going to be treated as a bigger star. Like the company you don't have any ties with, you're going to treat their guy as the bigger star than the company that you're theoretically trying to help out because you have a relationship with. And if I'm ROH, either they are dumb and they haven't taken advantage, like they haven't approached New Japan and said like, hey, why can't we, do this or do that? And if they have, and they're still getting shot down, like ROH probably is in a position to say, yeah, let's just cut this relationship off on our own. But if I'm them, I'm pissed about this whole thing. Yeah. I'm going to take Gato backstage and threaten him.
I mean, if they're not asking for things, then they're fucking stupid, first of all. And if they're not getting it, then yeah, the fucking relationship just is not going well for them. So we've had this relationship going on for a while, and I guess the last point to talk about is just loyalty. Obviously, in Japan and even in business, loyalty is a big factor, and part of the rise in the popularity of New Japan back when they were still doing their major shows on like iPay-per-view and stuff was coming from the ROH relationship, because they started getting their guys on a little more exposure in the U.S., and then you had a lot of U.S. fans buying these iPay-per-views, and then the company started making more money, they started to grow. But then on the other hand, please don't forget that part of the growth of ROH over the past few years came directly from the New Japan involvement, because you had an association with a hot New Japan product, And then it started off when you had AJ and the Bucks working there for a while. And, you go from AJ and the Bucks and how it traveled through with the various Bullet Club members and everything. And it was just a constant flow of those guys in there, which at times overtook the ROH product. And ROH did that to themselves. And I wrote about it when the guys left. I mean, ROH basically gave the keys to the kingdom to SCU, the Bucks, Adam Page, Cody, and them, and said, do whatever creatively, and, we'll okay it. And while it sold tickets and it, made for entertaining matches and some good shows, the problem is you let those dudes make themselves into stars so that they could go make their own fucking company.
ROH, I mean, if they had a do-over, they probably don't allow All In to happen, or if they do allow it to happen, they benefit more from it because there wasn't too much like ROH. You didn't know how much of an influence ROH had on that show outside of these guys are ROH guys, and you used ROH security, and you used Honor Club, and you used pretty much everything you could out of them. But ROH didn't like see any type of popularity boost or anything from it. It really was just kind of the elite guys, and that's why they were able to parlay that into their own company. And it's ROH is just a bad business all around right now. They're not hot. They don't have anything interesting going on. They're not even like they used to be able to hang their hat on. Hey, we got great matches, if nothing else. We've got Joe, we've got Punk, we've got Styles, we've got Daniels, we've got the Briscoes. Like we do the CZW Invasion. Like we can bring in the New Japan guys like Kabashi and all this stuff, and Bryan Danielson. Like we've got the talent. We're putting on the best matches you're going to find anywhere in the world. What was the last good ROH match where you're like, yeah, that match just fucking rolled, and that's the top match of the month, of the week, whatever. Like you watch ROH way more than I do. You've seen all these big shows. What's the last great ROH match where you were like, that's a match that topped just about anything I saw this week?
I honestly can't think of one off the top of my head. Yeah, it's been a long time since something has been like that interesting to me from ROH. Like I don't think there's a lot of bad, but there's just a lot of there.
Yeah, they have good matches. Like you look at the G1 Supercard, and all right, the ladder match was good. I do think the Matt Taven Jay Lethal draw was good. The best wrestler in the world, Shane Taylor and Jeff Cobb had a really good match earlier this year. They've had some good stuff. They've had some borderline great stuff. But then you look at what New Japan is doing. You look at what NXT is doing. You look at what AEW did in one show. And it puts anything you see in ROH to real shame. And it's like they don't have an identity anymore. It's what we talked about at the New Japan show at the G1 Supercard is, what's their identity? Like they're trying to be WWE extra light with fucking shoot stuff with Enzo and Cass that is going nowhere, has gone nowhere. What was the point of that whole nonsense? Like that just made you've done nothing to follow up on that. And I'm not saying this was a great angle, but you had some intrigue there, and then you've done nothing. Like right now, ROH is literally their biggest story is Bully Ray is taking fans backstage and threatening them and telling them to, I guess in his words, he didn't threaten them, but he's taking fans backstage for being too rowdy, which this guy used to incite riots in ECW. That's the biggest story in ROH right now. Nothing else.
Well, that's because he's all upset because it involved his girlfriend this time.
Well, yeah. And Mandy Leon and the Lizard Man and all this shit. Like, but that says something about this company where, all right, WWE's going to Saudi Arabia. that's a whole mess and blood money and stuff. At least WWE knows how to get out in front and create a different story, a different narrative. Like they might have a women's match. They, they got Brock, they got Goldberg, they got The Undertaker. Like, hey, don't pay attention of that we're going to Saudi Arabia. Pay attention to these legends we're bringing back and shit. Like ROH can't even try to mask their problems, like their bad publicity right now with something of, hey, but we got this going on, so don't pay attention to the bad stuff. Pay attention to this. Like there's just nothing going on in this company. Except Shane Taylor, best wrestler in the world.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just it feels like a big old messy situation. And on the surface, I mean, okay, I guess here's just a question, honest answer. What is the biggest asset ROH has to offer New Japan at this stage?
Either Jeff Cobb or Jay Lethal. Like those are the two best wrestlers. Maybe Bandito. They've got good wrestlers. Bandito, Roosh. I'm blanking on Jonathan Gresham. Like they've got some good talent, but again, none of these guys feel like actual stars. Like you can't go over there and headline with these guys. They're just good wrestlers. And AEW has plenty of good wrestlers. Every company in the world has good wrestlers right now. There are so many good wrestlers out there. And all right, you bring over a Jay Lethal, like cool. Jay Lethal's not boosting your business. Bandito's not boosting your business. Jeff Cobb's not boosting your business. Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Jon Moxley, the Bucks, Cody, they're boosting your business.
Yeah, and I agree with that. That's the thing. It's just I sit there and I look at the ROH product, and it's
Bully Ray will boost their business.
Oh, fuck Bully Ray. But seriously, though, it's like you look at the ROH product, and it's not bad. The problem is, though, that it just sort of exists. And in some ways, that's almost worse than being bad. I mean, look at Impact, too. It's in that same thing. I mean, Impact runs some good pay-per-views. Their TV is always solid and makes sense. But it's just nobody's watching on Pursuit. Like 12,000 people watch on Pursuit, and then you got anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 people watching on Twitch a week. And that's it. And otherwise, there's no real buzz around the company outside of Killer Cross wants out of his contract, and Jordan Grace didn't sign a contract, and then did sign a contract. Scarlett Bordeaux wants out of Impact. It's like, that's the big news that the company brings, and that's not good either. So, yeah, I don't know. I would not be shocked at all if New Japan tried to get out of the relationship to work with AEW more full-time. But again, as we talked about, though, it's just not as easy as everybody thinks it's going to be. Because you have to take into account the relationship with CMLL, the potential breakdown of that and everything. And the loyalty factor, I think, will play a lot into it. So we'll see what happens. And I think you are right, though, in one regard, Jeremy, that it's probably going to get more intensified once we get closer to AEW being on TV.
Yeah, that's when people really got decisions to make. And I don't know how these relationships work. I don't know if there's actual contracts or if it's just a handshake agreement and you can end it whenever you want. Like if there's an actual contract, then, you got to wait until that kind of expires. If it's just a handshake thing and that is what it is, and you can kind of sever that whenever you want, and okay, you might look like the bad person, but fuck it. I'm going to go with whoever's making me the money. Like, I don't care if I piss off ROH. What have they done for me?
Well, who's going to look worse? A company that walks away from an underperforming partnership to find a better one, or a company that routinely goes to Saudi Arabia for blood money? I mean, I think I'll walk away from the shoddy relationship and take my chances with that one.
Yeah.
So that's what we got for today. Jeremy and I will be back in a few days. We will talk the fun of Super Saudi Showdown, and We will talk about Dominion and all kind of other things. And
Oh my God. Saturday, Sunday, Friday, we got Saudi Showdown. Saturday night is fucking UFC, which is actually a good card. And then, like, right as UFC ends, Dominion starts. So I'm not sleeping a wink on Saturday night.
I will not be watching UFC. I will be watching A Night You Can't Miss, brought to you by Impact Wrestling and House of Hardcore.
I feel so bad for you. I really feel bad for you. We got Donald Cerrone and Tony Ferguson on UFC, man. Cowboy. You know Cowboy's gonna deliver.
This is true.
You get to watch Tommy Dreamer in the main event.
Tommy Dreamer in 2019 in another main event. God bless that son of a bitch. It's amazing.
I'm sorry you have to watch that instead of what should be an excellent UFC show.
That's okay. But yeah, we will be back later. We will talk about the fun weekend shows. And remember, you can follow the 411 on Wrestling podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, and of course the 411 Mania website. Please make sure to subscribe and share us around. We would greatly appreciate it. Our subscribers keep growing. We love you guys and appreciate it. And if you have time, leave a 5-star review on iTunes. So again, Jeremy and I will be back in a few days, and we will talk about Dominion and other things. Stay safe and happy wrestling, everybody.